All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for February 28th, 2023. We will start with the swing trade portfolio review. The metals really dominated well. So this is Alcoa. This is all 30-minute bars. And so yesterday we initiated the SSC. It closed well. Today there was a little R10 wiggle and continued, so it broke out above the R10, so I added a second position. This thing closed well. So we're within fighting distance of the 10-day high. And I'm just going to move my stop to the PSAR and be happy with that. Would not have been offended if you took the 1, 2, 3, 4. So you get 3 from the first one and 1 from the second one. That would have been 4R in hand if you exited here. And that would not have been wrong. Cliff is the same trade, essentially. The R multiple's better because the relative size of the risk box was smaller relative to the move. So yesterday it closed well. Today it closed very well. And on 1 unit of risk, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put the stop right there at the PSAR. And we're holding 4R in hand on Cliff. I'm going to jump down to U.S. Steel while we're here. U.S. Steel, we started. Now that was the strongest trading vehicle of the metals, and so that was actually 1, 2, 3 days ago, where we took the 1, 2, 3 entry off the low, and that worked and stayed pretty strong all the way through that close. The next day we got the big gap up and closed well, so why not? We tightened our stop up yesterday to the PSAR. And then today, the R10 wiggle just continued. So I added a second position here because it had clearly left behind all this junk. And as we said yesterday, there was no resistance in here till it gets about to the hump of the dragon and the hump of the RL10. And so it felt like getting that second position in let us get the free money up into this region. Notice that it hesitated a little bit here and then just powered on right through it. So on that basis, I was willing to hold the 2 positions overnight, 1 from here and 1 from there. And on 1 unit of risk, that's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 on the second one. So we're holding about 7R on 2 positions, and then it still has this much wiggle room. So that one's feeling pretty good. All of the metals did really well and are carrying most of the other portfolio members. So CVS Health, this one I just have been playing 1 day at a time. I'm swing trading 1 day at a time on this one. So you see I took that little bite and didn't hold it overnight. Took this little bite yesterday, didn't hold it overnight. Took this little bite today, did not hold it overnight. So we ended up about +1 on that and flat. And if it breaks below the RL10, I'll just keep doing that until the cows come home. At some point, that PSAR is going to flip, and then this might become one of these. But it's had 2 chances. It's really had 3 chances to do that lately. 4 chances. This did not go. That did not go. That did not go. That didn't go. That didn't go. So maybe the 6th time pays for all. So we got to be ready to do that. Ready to go from this critical state, ready to get long or short. The short one is the easier one to believe in. So that's the way I'll be leaning. Meanwhile, I'll just keep going to the market for a snack on that one. Devon Energy, I just got tired of waiting, so this is normally an indication that tomorrow is going to be a big, strong up day in Devon Energy because I got out of it today. So the least surprising play would be a sudden gap up, which I can't get, and then a strong follow-through based on the entry here about 6 days ago, and it's been dead money, and so we made a fraction, and that's really even more painful than scratching, So tomorrow, a big up move in Devon would not be surprising at all. It'll be a source of laughter. This is Electronic Arts. So we've been trying a number of long side Godzillas on this one and only getting fractional wins or losses. And then finally the collapsing dragon actually collapsed and we got paid. And then it bottomed out down here, and this feels like an SSC right here on the gap up, which we entered yesterday. And it's closed right here. So we're holding about 0.5 in hand. My stop is still here because I want to give this 3 or 4 days to really get a running start to the upside before I adjust this. So that one is tentatively positive. It has not failed in 2 days, so feeling okay on that one. Emerging markets, I'm just stalking. This has been locked into a consolidation these last 3 days. After the gap down, it's done nothing but monkey around. So where I really want to get is short on a breakdown of the 10-day low, which is here. So I'm ready to take the short, and I think I will be ready to take the long here at the PSAR break tomorrow. So I'm going to set that one up as a nice tight risk box in here, and I'm ready to play long or short out of that tomorrow, out of the compound critical state. It is rare for it to stay that sideways and compressed for so long, so I'm going to be especially ready for that one. Mexico, we are still long one from an SSC here. Standard risk in play. Standard stop is still here. Again, I want to give this 3 to 4 days to let it get a running start at the 10-day high. The more I look at that, the more I'm inclined to get my stop up in here tomorrow and just get the risk out, because it's had 1, 2, 3, 4 days to make that move, and it hasn't. So tomorrow we're going to find out if there's any juice on this thing. What it has going for it is the COTA 2. So this could have a nice move tomorrow. And so I'll be ready for that. As soon as it starts breaking north of this, I'm going to move that stop up to probably like the 1 bar low so I can lock in that much goodness. Okay. So EWW will be at a decision point tomorrow. Now, Brazil, on the other hand, has shown no willingness to follow through. And the last 2 trades on this one have been winning trades to the downside. This is rolled over. Could have been short here today on the collapsing dragon. I had span of control concerns because I was fully in on the metals. And then the COTA 2 was reinforced here. It would not have been unusual for me if I didn't have any other plays in to just play that to the short side with an entry today. But I'm ready to get short tomorrow on a violation of the RL10. And if it gets through the 30-day low, I might even add a second position. So I expect if there's weakness in Brazil tomorrow, then we're going to make bank on that one because I'm leaning that way. And that means I need to go pay attention to the upside here. And your choices are really, do you play the breakout from the PSAR, or do you wait for the breakout above the PSAR flip? So the way I resolve that one is I take that second one. This is where I would put the swing trade pattern on. But since EWZ is a frog champion, I'm going to be playing this from the open compound critical state. So if I get long here, this is on a 3-minute intraday, and then if it proceeds through, then I'll make a decision to convert that day trade in and keep 20% of it as a swing trade, and then off it goes. Because if it clears here, that gap is not resistance at all, and it should get to 28.50 pretty easily. So I want to be ready to swing trade from here, intraday from here, and then I'm ready to get short intraday here because that's already a collapsing dragon, and then the swing trade would be short from the 30-day low. That's where I would be looking to add an intraday position and then use the combination of those two entries to fund the swing trade. This thing is rolling over into the winter, and Brazil is on the edge of collapse. So that one has real possibilities tomorrow. Intel, just stalking. This is one where this is actually starting to be a favorable position or a favorable setup because you're getting this compression after this enormous sell-off. The fact that it has not failed further in 3 days suggests that maybe the bottom is in. And so I'll be ready tomorrow. What I want to see tomorrow to trade this one would be SPY up, Qs better than SPY. Then I'd like to see semiconductors better than the Qs. And then I'd like to see Intel be strong. If that's the case, then I'll have no hesitation, first of all, on the intraday move here, and then probably the swing trade above, call that 25.60. So 25.6 is the alert where I would pick up the swing, and all of this space in here, I would just be a day trader. But if it fails tomorrow, then I'm short right from that collapse because you're already at the 30-day low, and that could be the start of a second leg down that looks like that. Check or hold. Real estate, this has just been dead cycling money. The one positive on it is that maybe the 30-day low is going to be an intermediate turning point. So the selling pressure that was in here seems to have dried up. There has not been buying pressure yet. Although if you really are trying to persuade yourself, you could say, oh, I have a slightly higher high. That's pretty thin. But, you know, I've traded long on less than that. So I'm just ready to take the mechanical breakout. I'm just going to play this one pure mechanical entry. Mechanical entry. You know, 5 cents above today's high, I'm long. 5 cents below today's low, I'm short. And I'm using today's range, which is 88 to 87. I'm going to use a $1 stop as my risk. And we're just going to play that one mechanically. I'll put those orders in tonight, and off it goes. Marijuana, we are short one on this one. This felt like collapsing dragon was going to happen, so we took the Kata 2 entry. It closed poorly today. My stop is still in play here, and again, I want to see this thing fail tomorrow so I can get my stop adjusted and get in the money. Clean energy, I felt like I missed the entry today, but I was really monkeying around with the metals so much that I felt under normal circumstances I would be a Kata 2 entry here because you have a low and a higher low, a strong PSAR. You're successfully getting through that resistance, and now your target is here, 44.50, and then there's no resistance above that until you get to, 46.50. So if I was not already fully loaded up on the metals, this would have been an interesting place to get with a and then you just would have used the standard risk box, something like that. So I'll be ready on that one, I think, tomorrow. That if it breaks above today's high, which is also the peak of the RL10, that's where I want to get long with a standard risk. Short side on this one, clean energy, because it's been so weak. I'm ready also to play this one as a purely mechanical entry on today's range. So I'll get long here, short there, and then try to get my risk out, and then we'll see how that goes. Treasuries. Today was initiated a long on this one, and this one was mostly failure to fail below 100, for 10 days. And there has been some urge to try, and it's not failing at all. So maybe this is a important round number. So I took this as a intraday COTA 2 with a very tight stop. And second position, I'm looking to add above 102.50. So this will be just a single position effort to here, and then a second position long from here. Third position, if it can get above 104.50. Okay. And last one was Tesla, because we've already seen U.S. Steel. Tesla, I initiated on a COTA 2 today. I took this double bottom, then a COTA 2, right in the elbow, and I just didn't want to wait any longer. I took this as failure to fail further. I have a wide stop on it, because that's the standard swing, standard risk box for Tesla for me on the swing. Where I would execute that, though, tomorrow is... Now, I'm just going to hold it there at 200, and we'll see if this thing will go or not. I have reasons, the reason to stay in is because I have a belief that 216 is in range, and that's just about 2R to the top of the stack. So that's the swing portfolio, 30-minute bars mostly. It's been so sideways in the broader market that I have been emphasizing taking earlier profits on the 30 days rather than trying to let these things run, because there has not been large multi-day follow-throughs in a market that's in sideways normal. So this is an example of a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush in sideways normal markets. That's almost the title of a country song, y'all. All right, let's look at the traders today. Brother sneaking in some last minute work here. All right, so this is Satya. Really nice work here. Here's his OR3. It comes around a little bit late, so he gets a standard risk. Cash. It does not fail. Instead, it reverses back up, so he just re-enters. Standard risk. Nails it right at the edge of the dragon. I mean, dude, that's double plus good. +3 and no overnight risk. Very nicely managed. On U.S. Steel, on the 3-minute, again, the lazy OR3. This might have been a place to add after the R10 wiggle. He exits here, misses this one, and that would have been now he got that leg on Alcoa. This was fear of missing out, or fear of giving up. FOGU. Fear of missing out is why you get in. I don't know, or fear of giving back, FOGB. So he does get a nice trade. I mean, that's 3.2 on that single position, whereas he got 2 legs up on Alcoa, which was a total of 3. So he did 6.2 today. That's you can make a living on that. Nolan improving his patience and improving his results, 1.8. So he's got this Kata 2 entry, which is also really a collapsing dragon. I might have gotten out here and then gotten back in, but his relaxed single entry is a pretty nice 1.4. I think there was an SSC here and a Kata 2 here and probably here. This one that he did take, though, paid off, and that's a very strong Kata 2. And he got what was there, a 0.4, so 1.8 for the day. I cannot argue with that whatsoever. That's the opposite of overtrading. Luke, on the 5-minute Aussie. Let's see. There is a emerging dragon breakout available there. I think he's late getting in. He's waiting for the PSAR flip and then triggering. And again, this is one where I think you got to be in like right in here when the PSAR flips, rather than waiting for the full R10. Especially on the short side, because those moves happen a little quicker. With best play, that should not have lost money. I think this is a late entry and a late exit. He's studying whether or not the relaxed PSAR flip confirmation reduces his frequency of trading and smooths out his rules and adds to peace of mind. So this is part of a 100-trade experiment. This one on the reversal to the upside, I like that. That's a emerging dragon. I think the full R loss, I don't like that. I would rather see you, at the skin of the dragon, because this is supposed to work right away. Because the previous move was that strong, you're expecting that strong of a move, and when it doesn't manifest 3 bars in, I'd like to get out here. Then nice stop and reverse. Now that almost is like an R10 wiggle, but it fails so quickly that the R10 doesn't even wiggle. But notice what it also is that's right at a collapsing dragon. So there's 2 good reasons to add a position right here. It fell right through, like the hesitation didn't even get through the dragon, and it's a collapsing dragon, so I'd like to see that. And I think you can make the argument here as well. The R10 wiggle was there and resumed, and then if you had 3 positions in, and this thing starts reversing, that's where you get out. And that could have been 4R in that one. I'm thinking, okay, this was not a stop and reverse. Could have been. He looked at that as a possibility for a short on the rollover. The PSAR flip entry gets him in here. He gets a nice pay on that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He did stop and reverse, and that was the exit. But, man, do I want that to be a stop and reverse there. Holy smokes. He switches to the DAX here. So I think he gave back more than he needed to today and stuck around a little longer just as a note to add to the research project. But then he shifts over to the DAX on the 2 minutes. Let's see. Let me get this out of the way. He gets a relaxed SSC. I still like the exit at the edge of the dragon rather than this one, and I'd like that to be a stop and reverse rather than this one. And then when this doesn't fail, I like to scratch that. I love this one. I like this or this as Kata 2s, but still 1.4, which erases the previous Aussie, so he's in good shape and positive for the day. I'm not going to quibble with any of that. Here's Kyun. Now, what I want you to notice is between this one and the next one, what he's doing is deliberately practicing trading during the middle portions of the day to see what it feels like to trade at these slower times. He found himself zooming in too closely to look at ticks, needs to zoom out, and otherwise, because it's like Ka the Python in the Jungle Books, you can get hypnotized. And I think that's what's happening in here, maybe as he's getting too close to price. So I'm not going to dwell on that too much other than to say I think this is out too soon. Both of those, like we should have had most of that move. And we got to learn to trust the downside of the dragon or the PSAR or whatever and let those things grow, especially in that early surge. But when he rolls that forward to today and applies the lessons learned from his own self-coaching, now notice that he's being more deliberate in the setup. He's finding the R-stat move, the maximum reasonable intraday move. It made that move from the open to here, and then it sort of stalled a little bit. He got this in a series of nice pieces and chunks. That one, he talked himself out of that because it was so close to the R-stat, and he didn't really give much up, to be honest. And so plus 4.5 erased yesterday's issues and was a nice paycheck. Here's Woj on his 4 standards. Devon was flat. He got a bump in Tesla, -1 in NVIDIA, and then found the mover and crushed it in U.S. Steel. I love the metals. Now, what I want you to think about is the difference between the metals and oil, both industrial commodities, but there's more people that pay for energy than are paying for base metals. So I'm thinking metals are the way. Metals offer you a little more advantage when it comes to trading commodities. Now it looks like the system is trying to crash here, so I got the hourglass figure, so let's we're just going to have to wait and see if you're in the sound of my voice. Oh, sorry, let's try it again. Hey, I'm just going to jump to the sniper trade of the day, and that was a complete blue screen of death for me here. All right, so this is the intraday. We're on a 3-minute chart. Hey, Dub, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you got me.
All good.
Okay. All right, so this is in a symbol that was the strongest stock in the strongest sector. So I noted the OR3. I noted from the previous close, that's where I wanted to get short, so I was not taking the OR3. This thing gave me an orderly morning hook. So when it moved one standard risk box off the statistical low, I took it with a standard risk. It worked right away. At the 2R battle drill and the R10 wiggle, which held, I added a second position. Up it goes. Third position, 2R battle drill. Fourth position, 2R battle drill. Orderly exit at the edge of the dragon after the fourth position. This is U.S. Steel on 3 minutes. So the first position earned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second position earned 1, 2, 3.5. Third position earned 1.5, and the last one was a scratch. So that's 10R intraday, no overnight risk, and that's what funded the second entry on the swing in U.S. Steel. Now, very orderly exit. And what I did on this Kata 2 is I put a double scoop on simply because it was the strongest stock by far in the strongest sector, and I had 10R of markets money, so I put 2 positions on right from the get. Come on, dummy. Why is it doing that to me? Anyway, there were a couple more 1R wins on that thing. Zoom's acting funny, so I'm going to just get that one canceled. The point I wanted to make on this one was that the OR3 is a general purpose good way to enter, but when you got other reasons in your trading plan and said, hey, I want to get short here where it's decisive, then you don't get caught sometimes monkeying around in here. And then you get a morning hook when it's one wrist box off the bottom. So that was the essential idea. So I'm going to get this added to the swing pattern, and we got a late start tonight. So that's everything I wanted to cover for tonight, and I'll try to figure out what's going on with Zoom. So that's everything we got. We'll get this published and posted, and we'll be ready for them tomorrow. Good work by the Creativity 202 guys. It's not too late to join that course if you're in the sound of my voice. And I fixed the links on Patreon to listen to the highlights from Sunday morning, and they're well worth listening to. So anyway, take good care, and we'll see you on the high ground.